Hello everyone and welcome back to Neopets, the Darkest Faerie. The eye of the storm is near. It's one of the few places where you really get to see the close-upness of where the purple clouds really swirl. But what awaits us here? Other than some strange camera angles, but we are, unbeknownst to us, we're in the middle of a kind of a boss arena, because we have one boss that's going to be outside the arena, attacking inwards. All this really is known as is the Plague... Oops, okay, it's also inside. This boss is known as the Plague Serpent, but I could hazard a guess as it's also known as Castralis or Castralis, that book that we saw at all the way back in Fairyland, even though it's just called Plague Serpent, whatever you get a hit in. This boss is not a great boss when it comes to communicating how things are supposed to go. It really only has about 3 different attacks that it's able to do. One is just straight physical, the other one is spraying poison gas at you, and the other one is actually hypnotizing you and making yourself freeze. So the way you go about hitting it, if you have been not looking, is that you have to... Come on. You have to get on top of these kind of Stonehenge-looking rocks and wait for the Plague Serpent in order to show up, and then, before it actually hits you physically, you need to block its attack so that it gets stunned. Now, as you continuously go and attack it, you get less places for you to actually go and hit your target. Now we're down to only 3. You know, avoid the poison gas by just going onto the adjacent rock there, which gets a little bit more difficult. Oh, there we go, hypnotizing. Gets a free hit, but that's not really a problem with the amount of health we have. What is a problem is that sometimes it just really does not want to continue actually physically hitting you. Because this fight either can be very long or very short, depending on your luck. It also has a Godzilla roar whenever it decides to just smash and break stuff, which is rather uncharacteristic of, I think, what it's supposed to be. But with that, we're all good.
Look at the sky!
It's cleared up! It's like the clouds were...
tied to that giant monster! So if other monsters keep the clouds in place, then if we defeat the monsters...
we can free the land!
Now, just in case you thought you were home free, you're not, because we still have to collect the black bog berries before we go. But just keep in mind, this particular area of the swamp, presumably considered the deepest part of the swamp, has, colored swamp goo that gives you a game over if you decide to not jump correctly. So you have to be very careful, because even though you might have defeated the boss, improper platforming could kill you. Which really, really sucks. But yeah, apparently it's all cleared up. The sun is shining. Yeah, not really. Like I said last time, the swamp, even though it might have been shrouded in purple before, really gives it a kind of bleak view. Even when the clouds clear up at this point, it's still not a great place to really explore and look at. The other problem is that, well, we still have to get out of here, and it requires even more light touches when it comes to platforming, because the only way out of here is to go across the serpent's body to those platforms that we used in order to get across. He smashed a couple of them, so that's why we have to use his body. Again, be careful, because some of this area can be game over goo. There. Now we never have to go in that area again. But another area I'm kind of curious about is that island that's over there with the urgy fruit. Areas there. Can I... Whoa, I can! Ooh, boy. Yeah. There's so few of these shrubs in the game that you really just have to take advantage of them. And another sinkhole spot. So that's how you're supposed to get up there. Okay. Yeah, so some of the sinkholes actually had vines over on the walls if you were paying attention to it. I'll have to test that out for next video, but I think that's the way in order to get the Nova mode. Regardless, back in Bogshot Village, the music makes it sound all that nice, but when there's things like swamp tentacles still around in the village area, there's only so much you can really be cheery about. Here we go. So, we have the three bogberries, the red, white, and black. Everybody's still sick, however, even though they might not be purple anymore, if you go and talk to some of the people that are around here. Like this guy all the way back at the entrance, he's now blue instead of purple. But yeah, he's still sick. So we need to go to the apothecary. When it comes to game design, the only real, guess I could give at this point is that when you enter the apothecary, the game just checks if you have all three bogberries in your inventory. And if it does, that just signals the flag for all of the villagers in Bogshot are cured after this point. Problem is that not everybody's cured. The most serious ones actually need an additional cure. Poison pods from the Steppe Plateau, so this is just a small side quest that we're able to do. 4 pods from the Steppe Plateau, and yeah, that means we have to go back there. Yes, indeedy. Okay. We'll get there eventually, but I'm gonna save that for, well, a later time. We're going to be picking up a few side quests in Bogshot in order to do, and they're going to some of them are going to involve more effort than others. And here's Hank. He's going to be here for a little while. Yeah, good for you. You said it. Well, that's what we're going to check up on at this point. We have a bunch of people to talk to and some quests that really need to get rolling.
Wow.
Especially things like, Brendel. We should be able to get the bridge fixed at this point. You'll never know unless you try. If there's anything I can really say about this game is that you really do get your content worth if you go about talking to everybody in the game. Because we just got another side quest. Surprise from this kid. Yeah, so there's a missing person in Bogshot, and apparently he's somewhere in the swamp. We're gonna have to go look for him eventually, which I will do once we've actually done our rounds with all of the buildings. Alright, speaking of which, Brendel, hello. I bet you do. So finally, after talking with Brendel at this point, if we go to the Brightvale Bridge, it'll be fixed, and we have access to, with a big huge asterisk, everything in the game that we did not have access to before we started Act 3. So all of the Meridel areas, all of Act 1, we're able to get back to. So it's all good and great from there. Now, coming in and talking to Grimnar, however, you might notice that he still doesn't have anything to sell. If you talk to him, though, he'll give us a side quest that it is in your best interest to actually do. He gives you a key to a mine in the Draconeck Hills. We passed by a door back there that was actually locked. In there is apparently a giant chunk of the moon, or at least metal from the moon, which in Neopets is Krelutor. If we go and get a chunk of that metal and bring it back to him, he'll make us a sword. A moon sword, a sword of the moon, which is pretty sick. So we're definitely going to be taking advantage of that ASAP, so that we can get a new sword for Tor, because it has been a while. Well, his last sword was from Kogum? Must have been. And now that everybody's nice and cured over at Primrose's place, we can actually talk to her. And again, you can talk to her before you actually kill the serpent, but it's, again, out of tone.
Oh.
For a reward, we get a striped egg, which isn't much, but the side quest isn't over, because we get to just play pen pal between the two of them and have to talk to Marion in Brightvale once again. After that, though, the quest will be over. And that's pretty much it with Bogshot as a whole. Well, we gotta talk to our guy again over here. Okay, he's all good now. So, what that means, we're gonna ignore all the things that opened up in the quest log. We'll talk about that later. So we have a war for a sword that we need to get. We have to go back to Brightvale. We have to get poison seeds. But the most important thing that we're going to do right now for the rest of the video is find that missing kid in Bogshot Swamp. So that's a really important thing to do. Now, you can go and explore head to toe throughout the swamp, and you will not find him. Where he actually is down in the sinkhole map. Just in case you actually had not found this place when you went through Bogshot Swamp the first time. When it comes to enemy differences between when the swamp is purple and when it's not, all the minions are gone and they're replaced with Krokobex. Swamp Krokobex to be precise. But coming down here also, you'll find that there is a giant slurg right in the middle of the sinkhole area. So we gotta get rid of him. I think wind is the most helpful here. I think he's water based. Yeah, that does a lot more damage actually. There we go. Fall down, because somewhere in the center here is our wonderful little man there. Just chilling. What are you doing down here? Oh. I think I've noticed this sometimes, but this might be the first time I'm noticing it now. Where the text boxes will just change over, and instead of actually the actual character talking, it'll just pop back to whoever is actually the player at this point. But yeah, okay. He's all nice and safe. He will come back to Bogshot. And you might be wondering, okay, why are we doing this side quest in the first place? Because we didn't get a reward at all. He'll just say, it's like, yeah, I'm totally fine. I'll come back. No problem. Well, if we head back to Bogshot, once I actually just kind of get my moats in order, something else will pop up as a reward. And depending on who you are, it's either a reward or it's not a reward. I mentioned a long time ago that this area seemed a little bit too big for some reason. Well, there is a section of it that is used after you rescue Haplo from the swamp. Something to do with races. Yeah, so your reward is a minigame. Apparently the reason Haplo was in the sinkholes was to collect Mortogs for racing purposes. So, let's see. Yeah, it's right over here, over on the western side. Apparently you're not going to do that, because apparently you're going ahead and gambling. Gambling with a child. So here's how the minigame works. So you have your choice of 3 different Morthogs to bet on, and each bet is 50 Neopoints. They go from 1... The odds go from 1 to 1, so most likely to win, and you get 100 Neopoints, or an extra 50 for winning. Or it can go from 2 to 1 to 3 to 1 to 4 to 1 as a maximum. So if a 4 to 1 Mortog wins, you get 400 Neopoints. I believe your luck and clover meter does have something to do with whether or not you will win with higher odd Mortogs, but I can't say for sure. But anyway, let's watch this exciting, riveting race of Mortog gusto. Look at him go! Yep, I'm done. See you next time, everyone, as we do some side quest stuff.